makes Ran Takahashi a good outside hitter? A question I will help you understand. Ran Takahashi is very precise and consistent with his attacking, serving, and receiving, and he also makes very few errors. Most hitters, especially outsides and opposites, have a bigger arm swing movement that is more circular in motion because they are prioritizing maximum power. What makes Ran's arm swing different is that it is very short and compact, which means he can swing earlier and faster than the average hitter. His elbow is back and loaded on the way up from his jump, and then he immediately rotates his shoulder and elbow forward. This allows him to beat the blockers with greater speed before they can finish their blocking motion, or before the defender has time to be fully ready and set up. Takahashi spikes with incredible precision. Because his arm swing has fewer movements than a big windup like Yuji Nishida or Matt Anderson, he is able to control it with more ease. When you have less motion to control, your accuracy increases. Combine this with great court vision, and you have pinpoint accuracy attacking, where he can see every hole in the block and defense, whether he's attacking from the front row or back row. You can also see that he has a very controlled finish to his arm swing. Wherever his fingers are pointing is where the ball is going. Ran has one of the most consistent and precise serves in the world. His approach and arm swing look the same every time, which makes him difficult to read and also allows him to serve with greater precision. The more you practice the same exact approach and arm swing, the fewer variables you have to control and the more consistent you become. Tossing with two hands also allows him to have greater control and consistency with his jump serve toss. He pulls his elbow back in the same way every time and is great at serving everywhere around the receiver to make them move or hesitate. Ran is a very consistent and accurate receiver. He does a fantastic job positioning his feet behind the ball in a balanced position and creating an angle with his platform that allows the ball to be targeted toward the center of the net, regardless of where the ball is being received from. He angles his shoulders to varying degrees to calculate the distance and width he needs to pass the ball. He is also very aggressive with his receiving movements, especially when it comes to passing in the seams. This makes it much easier for his teammates to pass with him when they know he is not afraid to pass and will not hesitate. Good float serve from Kater, but easily handled from Takahashi, and that short serve transition. So you see how aggressive Takahashi is attacking that seam to his right, and then great job from the other outside hitter covering from the outside. So he gets low under the ball, slight drop of his right shoulder to angle it to the target. Now notice that because he is already closer to the target, he doesn't have to drop his angle nearly as much. If he's a little further away, then he has to have a more extreme angle or maybe further to the side. So as soon as he passes it, he quickly transitions, does an inside out approach, quick backswing, and see how his elbow goes back right away. So really simple arm swing, elbow back and forward. That's it. Almost like a two motion arm swing. And yes, the set is pretty fast. You see how the block hands are not finishing, so they finish after the spike. And we talk about that incredible precision when he's spiking right in between two defenders, because it looks like the middle back and the right back have a pretty good read, but Takahashi does an excellent job of just hitting wherever the defenders are not. Another great short serve angle. And there, now we get to see his right side hitting. And let's talk about his transition footwork. So once again, we see Ran Takahashi taking that aggressive left seam. Now he's taking that from the libero. Very few outside hitters are that aggressive. Usually outside hitters, all they want to think about is hitting, and they would let the libero take this ball. But the libero opens up because he sees Ran attacking the ball with his feet, takes a little bit off, and he's already accelerating into his approach. And we talk about the deception here. His elbow's back, just like he's about to hit hard. And then he slows down his swing at the end just to get a nice roll shot. Let's take it from this angle, elbow back, boom. Look at that soft touch there. Now we talk about the reason why it's hard to read, because his arm swing looks just the same as if he was going to hit hard, as the same as he is going to hit short.
For Kata, serve from Djukic is
back row, great vision.
off the net, and that took all the sting out of it, which means trouble.
Insistent, like
great view right here, aggressive approach. And let's see what his court vision looks like. Elbow back position, and looks like all three blockers are not ready for this, but by the time they read to the left, so you see how we have two blockers committed to the left. Ran sees that and just quickly hits across his body before the defenders can react to it.
Two aces. A response from Brazil now that service pressure continues.
I get to see some great play versus Brazil. Great soft block there, trying to take off a little bit from the opposite from Brazil, but gets stuffed. And look at that position. He's able to finish his block before contacting of the ball. And you see how his hands are completely over the net at the point of contact. There's nobody there to cover from Brazil.
Here's the captain Osorio, Sekita with a little adjustment there, and another big.
And bringing a little bit of heat, even though Cuba read that, it's just too much for them to be able to control that ball.
You want to be facing a team that might go into a slump. Japan are not that kind of
Another
team.
back row combination, and again reading, but just the power of Ran Takahashi here.
Perfect pass. Simone fronts Yamauchi, and then
Now he does a great job aiming for the seam as well, so at first I thought it was right at a defender. Now if you can hit past Robert Landy Simone, you are beating the block truly, because Simone is one of the best blockers in the world from Cuba. Simone actually reads this really well. He's got long arms. He almost gets his hand on the ball, but we talked about because Takahashi's arm swing is so short and compact, he just simply beats blockers with speed. And then you add the precision element. So we have two people reading him, but he still manages to hit perfectly in between the seam, which not only causes defenders to hesitate, but it's just an extra gap on the floor where defenders can't defend. From Rand here.
Sekita. Oh dear, oh dear. Megure
Easy overpass from
the overpass
Ishikawa, and again, nobody home.
Ishikawa, you could see him thinking of all the people to drop
From
it
that
on.
great back row attack from Rand.
Sekita will send that far side, a much needed
So much speed from Ran. We got to see how fast this is. Opposite hitter from Cuba does a great job fronting. So this is where the blocker does read the situation very well. Cuba pretty much has the block set up, and Simone can barely get there one-on-one. And you see how Takahashi points away from his body, and we talked about that's one of his great tools he uses for precision, is wherever his hand finishes and points is where the ball is going to go. So not only is he able to hit around the blocker, because that's a big block, look at that, shoulders over the net, but again in the seam between two defenders, to be able to see the block and the defender, that's incredible court vision, right in between two people. Let's check out one of his serves here. That short serve, man, so deceptive.
That pretty much guarantees that we'll be seeing both these two.
Right in front. Same thing that he did with the libero, hitting right in front of the defender there. It's just too fast for them to react.
In front of him. Simon, excuse me. Takahashi. Didn't see anybody looming in front of him, did he?
Ryan is just having his way with the ball, passing short into that outsider position. Now this is a great angle to see what he does with his passing. Now, the reason why he's such a great passer, because his great footwork, a quick step shuffle behind the ball, shoulders forward, and he drops his inside shoulder, which is his right shoulder, and that's what creates that beautiful angle to center the ball. He finishes his pass first. Again, this opposite hitter from Cuba actually reads pretty well. His timing's perfect, but when you got that lightning speed arm swing from Takahashi, and the libero is right there, but we talked about how Ran sees the court so well that he hits it in front, to the side, or behind the defender or the receiver. Does that go through his legs? Does he?
Between the legs.
Oh yeah, he scores right between the legs of the Cuban defender. That should be an extra point in volleyball. Make sure you subscribe to the Volleyball World channel and watch the upcoming Volleyball Nations League on VBTV linked below.